Good morning and welcome to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. I am your pharmacist, Paul White. We're glad you joined us. Before we begin, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Aultman Health Systems. Today, Brad and I are broadcasting from our administrative offices, and our special guest is Amanda Beaver, Community Wellness Coordinator with the Aultman Ambassador Program. Good morning and welcome to the show, Amanda.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me today.
We'd like to remind our listeners that today's program is also available on our podcast, which can be downloaded from the App Store on your mobile phone. Look for Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy, and you can listen to any of our programs anytime. So, Amanda, again, welcome to the show. Please tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Amanda Beaver. Like Paul said, I am the Community Wellness Coordinator at Aultman Hospital, and I manage the Aultman Ambassador Program. I've been here for just a little over a year. I have a bachelor's in film production, a master of public health and policy and management, and I'm also a certified health education specialist.
Wow. Okay. All right. So, what is the Aultman Ambassador Program?
So the program was actually developed about 11 years ago by Dr. Akbar Shah here at the cardiology hospital. And he wanted it to be to educate students on their own health, mitigate chronic conditions that can occur from inactivity, poor dietary habits, excess stress, all of that. But it's grown so much farther than that. Right now, we have multiple high schools and middle schools in Stark, Wayne, and Mahoning counties. It's a youth-led program, and it allows students to work with school administration and staff to create sustainable projects and initiatives around our 5 core principles. So our principles are hydration, physical activity, nutrition, stress, and sleep. So the programs submit grant applications. We provide up to $750 annually for each program to kind of come up with an idea that can help their schools.
So the goals of the program are...
We have quite a few, actually. The biggest one is that it's youth-led peer-to-peer mentoring. There's engagement around that. We want it to be around those 5 core principles. So students who are in the program, they want to make sure that they're talking to others about this. They want to be able to learn and tell others. So what we've kind of found, and a lot of programs in Ohio and across the US have found, is that students don't really want to listen to adults. We should know this. And we kind of spew off facts and figures a lot to them, and it's not really getting anywhere. So a lot of programs have turned into this youth-led. So it provides activities, it provides students the ability to make the decisions, find the problem, decide what they would like to do in order to make things better.
Okay.
All right, Amanda. So, what does it mean to be an ambassador, and who are ambassadors?
So our ambassadors, they strive to make a difference in their school community. We've had so many projects happening that I'll definitely talk about in a little bit. And we want it to grow in their community as well. So the past year, we've been discussing ways for families to get involved and how to get into the community more. So in the past, it's kind of been the students kind of just do it in the schools. And as we continue to grow, it gets bigger and bigger. So right now we have 15 high schools and 2 middle schools in our program. It totals about 278 students. We still have students signing up every week, so that continues to increase. We'll probably end up hitting a little over 300 this year.
Okay, so you mentioned peer-to-peer earlier. What do ambassadors do to provide peer-to-peer mentoring?
It really depends on the schools. So the schools, some of them provide peer-to-peer mentoring to younger students, so middle school, elementary, depending on how their school system's set up. Some of our schools, like Sandy Valley, they're in some of the same buildings, so high school and middle school, they get to go and mentor the younger students. Some of them will go to other places, so some of them will travel to their elementary schools and varieties. Some of them do it during lunch, so they'll have a table set up, and they will have a lot of programs have the spinning wheel, so they use those and ask questions regarding the health and the 5 principles, and then students can answer and receive a prize for that. So it's really different ways depending on the program's needs. That's one of the best parts about our program is that it's focused on what the school needs, not just this overall, like hit these bullet points, and then that's how you do it. But we do have a basic timeline that we provide the schools with, and it's kind of more of, this application needs to be filled out here. We have scholarships here. We want you to talk about this principal in this month. But the grant paperwork is actually a framework that we developed from the SAMHSA's prevention framework, and it kind of allows students to build on their knowledge and their problem of the school. So it's very interesting.
Wow.
So you have advisors. What role do they play?
So our advisors are amazing. Some of our advisors have been here since year one, and they are really the individuals that are like the backbone. They do the logistics. They create that atmosphere. They're the ones who are going to go and get the students to sign up, make sure they get all their paperwork in, all of that. And some of our advisors are teachers. Some of them are other staff like counselors. Some of them are nurses at the school. They're the ones who are going to make sure everything's running smoothly. They have correspondence with me, with the students, all of that. They submit the document after the students fill it out for the grant paperwork. This year we have a new process for our scholarships for our seniors, and we're probably going to get some nominations from our teachers and advisors about the students submitting those applications. They do a lot. Our advisors do a lot on the back end for our students to be successful in this program. One of my personal goals in the next year is to provide a Advisor of the Year award that students can nominate their advisor and why. So that's kind of in the works, but hopefully we'll see that in the next year.
Wow.
So you mentioned you have 15 schools involved and almost 300 students. What qualifications for schools that would like to be involved? What do they need to do or have?
So the biggest thing is make sure administration is on board. We've had so many different ways that schools have become involved. That could have been from a superintendent saying, yeah, we want to do this in our district. But we've also had students like Central Catholic this year came to me and said, there was 3 students that said, we want to start this. How do we do it? So it kind of depends on how you go about it. So the administration being on board is great. And then they would need to find an advisor. And then the next step is finding your students. So it kind of goes from there. We do ask that these schools provide the advisor with a $500 stipend that allows for them to just have that little extra. We know teachers, things are difficult, especially after COVID. So we want to be able to offer that to them. And as we continue, we are going to work on providing that rather than having the schools provide that. So that comes in with donations and grant funding and all of these things that we continue to provide. Right now, we're not in the elementary level. We're working on that with a few different organizations, but we do have high school and middle schools. Middle school's more of a advisor led. They get some ideas. They get to pick the ideas from a list. And then in high school, they're the ones figuring out the problem. So schools, as long as they have the administration on board, as long as they have an advisor, like we can figure out a way to make it work for them.
The Ambassador Program strives to improve wellness within the community. What are some of the projects the ambassadors have completed?
Oh, this is one of my favorite things to talk about. So we have so many projects. Last year we gave out 14 grants. So just some of the few from last year. One of my favorites was Rittman High School in Wayne County. They collected over 400 pounds of the little bottle caps on like sodas and milk and all of that. And they are worked with Plastics Are Unique in Wadsworth to create 2 outdoor benches for an outdoor classroom. So they are going to start working on this project year after year in order to build an outdoor classroom that'll provide access to different materials, sunlight, everything that they need outside. And we've had a few schools do this, like Hoover High School did this as well. They worked on it year after year. Louisville High School last year worked with the city of Louisville. They created mental health stations on a new walking trail in the area. Fairless High School combined the Aultman Ambassador grant with the American Dairy Association, and they provided blenders for each of their buildings in the districts, as well as in teachers' classrooms, specifically for smoothies and smoothie bowls, because students in the morning weren't really getting what they needed in terms of nutrition. I remember when I was in school, it ended up being a lot of peanut butter and jelly bars or sugar cereal. So it's nice to be able to provide these options for students with the greens and fruit as well. So that's just a few, but I could go through a whole list over the years.
Do you ever connect, all of you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the cool thing is this year we've kind of tried to do a little bit more. In the past, it was like this program and this program and this program. They're all separate. This year, this past summer, I found opportunities for students to come together through the Hall of Fame, and a variety of other organizations to provide volunteer opportunities so students could get together. We also just a few weeks ago did a program with Dr. Braun at Otterbein University. He and his team created a board game that talks about the social determinants of health, or how your environment impacts the way you are healthy. And he created a board game. We had students from 5 different schools come in. They all decided to do it on their own. This was not something they had to do. So they came in and they learned about how their environment's impacting their health, that health is not just your physical health. It also includes your environment. It includes your income, all of these things. And the thing that I heard the most from students in that time was that it was really eye-opening. It's not things they talk about in school. We have a lot of students in med tech programs. They want to become doctors one day, that type of thing. And it was nice for them to see like the public health side of stuff too, that we can look at everything, especially in the community and in the school, and make a change that way.
Wow. Okay, Amanda, it's time for our first break. You are listening to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Welcome back to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Friends, just a reminder to stop by our pharmacy and talk to our pharmacist about our Health Matters drug savings program. We want to help you stay well and save money. There's other schools in the ambassador program. It isn't affiliated with. How can those students become involved?
Sure. So one of the things that I have been working on this past year is creating a community ambassador program. We know that there are some schools that just don't have the resources. They don't have the teachers or the advisors that have the time in order to build another program. So what we are working on is building a community program. But the other thing that students can do is talk to a teacher that they have a connection with. If they have a few people in their group that want to create a program, talk to a teacher, talk to somebody who might be interested, because then you'll be able to go to your administration and talk to them. Administration is much more lenient when it comes to a student coming and saying, I want to do this. If the student wants to do it, then the administration is going to be more on board. They don't want to build a program that's not going to have anybody sitting there. So the two options are, go to your administration yourself, come to me. At the end of the program, I'll give you guys my contact information. But the other one is, as soon as we release the community ambassador program, that's another option as well. So keep an eye out for that, hopefully in the beginning of fall 2024.
Okay, so how do you meet as a group during the school or after school or before or what?
Sure. So some of the programs meet in the morning before school. So it's a little bit of time before they talk about what they want to do for the month, what this looks like. They get their programs together, their projects, and each month some schools will do an activity that incorporates most or all of the school. We have other ones who are actually taken out of class for half a day and they focus solely on the program once a month. They focus on what they want to work on and what they can do for the school. It really just depends on the school. And that's the cool thing about this program is we in this office, we provide all of the resources, we provide grant funding and scholarships and all of these things, but the students and the schools are the ones to decide what's best for them. So if they need to meet in the morning, cool. If they need to meet during the day, great. If they need to meet after school, awesome. We have some programs that do things in the evening. They'll have like a health fair every once in a while. Usually it's about once a year. They'll do it in the evening and allow the community to come in. But it really just depends on the school and what they find works for them. one of our schools, McKinley Senior High School, they actually have their MedTech program that runs it in their classroom. So it's built into the curriculum. Last year we had Hoover High School on board, and they also ran it in their, I don't think it was called MedTech, it was something different, but it was similar in that respect. And they would have it in class and they would build it that way. So schools get to choose how they want to do it, and students get to help make that decision.
So what are the benefits to the school and the youth involved in the school?
So the school gets new ideas from our students. They also have the ability to get that $750 grant. Eventually, I'm hoping to increase that, just so that way the projects can become bigger and bigger. And students have the ability to make those decisions. They can go to administration and say, this is what we see. How can we help with this? So as administration, you have the things you're working on, but students might not necessarily see the outcomes of that in certain stages. This way, students can kind of say, hey, this is what I'm perceiving. This is what I see. How can I help alleviate this issue? And then we also have scholarships for students, which this year they did change a little bit. Last year they were a little bit smaller. This year I decided to work with Dr. Shaw and my supervisor, and we increased our scholarships to $1,000 for our seniors. We also have scholarships for our freshmen through junior, and that's a $500 scholarship. And then we have a $250 scholarship for any ambassador in the program. Somebody who gets the $500 scholarship can also apply for the 250. So these particular scholarships are broken down into 3 different levels because we want students to realize like their education is not limited to just going to college. So if they want to leave school and they don't have that path. They don't want to go to college. That's not something for them. They want to go to trade school. They want to go right directly into the workforce. They can get some management courses with this money. They can go work with a leadership Stark County and maybe take a leadership course there. Their Spotlight program is great for that. And they have these options that we don't want to limit to just the university. We're not sending the check to the university and saying this is the only thing you get. So it's nice because they get to decide how they're going to use it and how they're going to learn.
No, we Medicine Center Pharmacy have a scholarship program at Ohio Northern University in pharmacy. Okay, so maybe we might want to bounce that off of you, at least to take a look at it. So it's got to go to pharmacy school.
Sounds good. I can make it work.
Okay. So let's discuss the framework of being an ambassador. Are there set meetings, gatherings, and what is the time commitment?
Yeah, so usually they meet about once to twice a month, and it's usually about 40 minutes to an hour. It depends on the school. So let's see, Canton South, for example, they meet once a month. They take about 25 minutes before the first bell rings and they decide what they're going to do. They plan this also, like outside of it. They'll send emails back and forth or use Google Docs, and they'll plan it that way. So it really just depends on the school. Like I mentioned before, some of our schools will take a little bit longer, but in the terms of the full year, ambassadors should be meeting at least once a month with their advisor. So as a group, and then once we start getting into spring, these grant funds will be released. So they'll start to pick up and like they'll have to do the rest of the framework. So the evaluation, they'll look at the long-term and short-term outcomes of this. And then they'll start submitting those results to me as well. So once we get to beginning of May when school's winding down, then we'll start getting pictures and we'll start getting information on how they implemented their project.
Without mentioning any names, what sort of individuals are ambassadors?
Honestly, it's a little bit of everybody. I've had some very surprised principals who realize who's in the program and they're like, I would have never guessed that they would be there. So it really is a variety of students. We've got students who are those straight A students. They want to do as much as possible. They are in 2 or 3 of those tech programs in schools. But we also have students who are like myself in high school, very shy, very reserved, but they're like coming up with some of the coolest ideas. Last year, we had a school who they weren't quite sure what they were going to do in December because it can be super stressful for teachers and students and exams and all these things. And they decided, you know what, we're just going to bring Santa in and take pictures during lunch with like high schoolers. And they found that it was just a great way to relax. It was funny. They got to take pictures with their friends, and then they sent those to all the students. So they're going to continue to do that this year. So it really, yeah, the amount of students we have, it really is a variety that we get.
Interesting.
All right. Tell me, Amanda, what programs, you've got so many different things. It's very dynamic. Do you have some priorities for 2024 that you're trying to incorporate new and above what you've already accomplished, or what does 2024 look like?
Oh gosh, 2024. So we'll finish out the school year, and that'll be our programs wrapping up and getting their projects incorporated into their schools. Once we head into the summer, my goal is to increase. I want to be able to offer the program to all students in the area. So we're still working on a few schools, trying to figure out how to get advisors involved. But we also want to be able to expand more into Wayne County, because we have quite a few Stark County schools. We have 3 Wayne County. We know there's a few more we can get. Mahoning, we only have 1, and we want to continue to push those boundaries and let people know, like, we can move outside of Stark County. We're not just here. And then we want to make sure that we're focusing on, a lot of our students want to focus on mental health. They want to focus on how can we get rid of some of the stress that we have. And I know some of the adults in my life talk about how students, they shouldn't be so stressed out, but when I talk to some of these students and they volunteer in the summer, they're talking about the 2 or 3 tech programs. They go to leadership opportunities. They do all of these things. They go to work. So how can they decrease that while they're at school as well? So they want to create an atmosphere that they're not stressed out so much.
Very good.
Okay, bottom of the hour, time for the news. Thanks for joining us this morning on Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Welcome back to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. I'm your pharmacist, Paul White. This morning, we're talking with Amanda Beaver with the Aultman Ambassador Program. So, Amanda, tell us what the ambassadors are currently working on in regard to health promotion and prevention.
Sure. So I have heard that many of our schools are going to be working on the stress pillar. And I say that because our programs have until December 31st to submit their grant paperwork, which identifies their core principle that they're going to focus on this year. So they have been spending the last couple months going through and identifying the problem. They've been looking at who they need to talk to, all of these things. So once we get more of those in, I'll be able to get more information. But right now we have Norwayne High School, and they're in Wayne County. They're focusing on creating calming classrooms for each of their schools in the district. So this is going to impact all of their students. They have over 1,300 students. So it'll help with assisting with managing their emotions. They'll have some physical like textured items and things like that in the room. It'll be more relaxed, subdued colors. So they're going to have that in each building to make sure that that's available for students. West Branch High School submitted their grant paperwork as well already, and they are deciding to focus on nutrition. So they are asking for a variety of appliances for students to create healthier recipes and then allow students to taste those as well. So not only are we hoping to use this in the school, but also take it back home and say, hey, I can make this a lot easier than, I don't know, deep frying chicken. I'm trying to think of something. So we're trying to come up with different ways to do that. So West Branch is awesome, and she the advisor there is amazing and always sends us pictures. So you'll probably see some of them on our Instagram page. We also have Rittman in Norwayne. In Wayne County, there we go. They are going to build on something they've been working on the past few years. So they have a weight room, but it can only accommodate so many students. So they want to start incorporating their middle school in these programs, but they don't have enough equipment. So they are adding in new bars and plates and all of these different things to accommodate more students, which is beneficial because they just haven't been able to use it mainly for the athletes, but they want to start incorporating more of the students in there. So this will be an addition to a project they've been working on for a while now. And then I'm hoping we get to see quite a bit more come December 31st.
Okay, so high school students only right now. Is that correct? Freshman through senior.
Yeah, so the freshmen through seniors, they are the ones who are doing the projects in the schools. We do have two middle schools. We've got seventh and eighth graders in both of those, I believe. Fairless has sixth graders as well. So the middle schools are more of bringing in a speaker talking about whatever pillar they're on for the month. So believe that last month was nutrition. This month is stress management. So we have speakers come in. We work with a variety of people in the area, a variety of organizations to bring in speakers. And then we provide some smaller activities as well. So Dalton Middle School just completed a 280 positive encouragement candy canes for the entire
Okay.
school, fifth through eighth grade. So they'll be giving those out in the next couple of weeks, and they'll have like little notes on them just to help ease the holiday stresses that come with being off school for a couple of weeks and coming back and all of those things. So middle schools do something a little different, but we try and give them a little more fun things to accomplish.
So, why is the ambassador program so important to the community?
So as the program continues to grow, we anticipate more of the projects moving into the community, which is why in this past summer we've started doing more volunteer opportunities to show ambassadors that we like the ideas in the schools. We love that, but we also want to see how we can get it out as well. So we've already had some schools that have accomplished some things in their community, like Louisville and the mental health stations for their trail. So we have those. So we have amazing partnerships with community organizations, and it allows the individual programs to find those resources. And eventually we want people to know that the program is going to be able to assist with cutting back on those chronic diseases. We want to make sure that students learn early the different habits they can change, make sure that they're getting the correct information and working out of that rather than getting to be a 32-year-old adult like myself and learning how to use a weight room. So it takes a little bit. We want to start that earlier than waiting until they're adult and it's already started. So the earlier we can, the better it's going to be.
So what opportunities do youth have to join the program?
I have lots of opportunities. So the ambassadors, like I said before, they have fantastic opportunities. So when I think about the community and what the community can help with, we really need people who are willing to allow ambassadors to talk about the program, come in and maybe ask for in-kind donations. We've had some students who are like, I really want to do this thing, but the school doesn't have the money to do it, or they don't have the item to do it. So we might have some schools reach out to community members, might have schools reach out to organizations and businesses to ask for a few things. So that's always something that can be really beneficial for our programs.
You know, you've mentioned several schools so far. Can you list the schools that you guys are working with right now? Is that allowed, or is that something that's
Oh, absolutely. It's on our
okay?
website as well. So
Okay.
here's the list. We've got Alliance High School, Canton South High School, Central Catholic, Dalton Middle School, Fairless Middle School, Jackson High School, Louisville High School, Marlington High School, McKinley Senior High School, Minerva High School, Norwayne High School, Orville High School, Perry High School, Rittman High School, Sandy Valley High School, and
Wow.
West Branch.
So, you know, one of the things that I always found interesting from, you know, whether it be my college experience or just having a child in one of the schools you just mentioned, there's always something going on and you don't really know about it until sometimes you hear a program like you're sharing today. So, if we've got parents or students or community members that listen today and have a student at one of those schools, how do we help them find out how to get involved if they have an interest?
Sure. So the easiest way for them to get involved and for me to connect with the advisors is on the Aultman website. We actually have an Aultman Ambassador page. It's a little bit in the weeds, so just Google it. Aultman Ambassador Program, and it'll pop up. On there, it'll have an application. It says application, but really it's just a link to register. And then once I have your information, it'll ask for your name, your school, and your grade level. I'll have your information. I can reach out to you and say, hey, this is going to be your advisor, and then you'll be able to connect that way. It makes it super easy. I get it right away as soon as they submit it. So, or if you would like to, you can always contact me at amanda.beaver@altman.com. That's also an easier way to do it too.
Wow.
All right.
I guess I don't remember if we did cover this question. There are other schools that the ambassador program isn't affiliated with, like Portage County. Are we sliding into Portage County, or?
I would love to. I would love to do that. So the goal would be to say yes to that. And it is a matter of just getting in touch with either superintendents or an advisor, a teacher, or a staff member who wants to continue to do the program. So if anybody from that area is listening, feel free to reach out, because I will gladly sit down and discuss it. I think I mentioned earlier that Central Catholic had 3 students that came to me last summer and was like, how do we do this? And so they found their own advisor. They went to the principal and asked if this would be a good idea. And the principal said, yeah. So now Central Catholic has students, and they're working on some really big ideas right now, slowly making them a little more narrow. But their overall goal when we first started was they wanted to create a whole new cafeteria that offered so many different options. And I was like, I love it. Let's think a little smaller. So we want to start them small and build up to those things as well. So yeah, anybody who wants to be part of this or wants to learn more about it, we have some information on the website, but I'm always a great resource. I have plenty of time to sit down with people. That's what I do, is I sit down and I explain, and I make sure that everybody understands the responsibilities for the advisor in the schools.
So we got Wayne County south, I guess southwest sort of. And then we've got New Philadelphia and Dover cities. Are you in those areas yet at all?
Just in Wayne County. So Wayne County, Mahoning. Yeah, eventually we will work our way down. So it's just a matter of finding those resources. So if there's any superintendents listening, I'd love to talk to you.
Okay. Very interesting. Where are we at,
Well, we
Brad?
could probably take our last break and get that out of the way.
Okie doke. You are listening to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. We will be back in a few minutes. Welcome back to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. I am your pharmacist, Paul White. Pharmacist Brad White, and I thank you for joining us. Let's get back to the last segment of the show. In the past, okay, Aultman Hospital and many other hospitals had, I remember they had gray ladies, older adults, but there was also young people. I can't remember what they were called.
Candy strippers.
Okay, gotcha. Are any of these programs providing like internships in various businesses and that sort of thing, so that these students could, I mean, I know Brad and I spoke to one group some time ago at Timken High School. Does any of this go on in your program?
Not at the moment, but it's definitely something we can look into. It's not something I had thought about previously. When it comes to the hospital, for example, there are so many different facets and hoops that you have to jump through to allow students to come in. So usually the organizations or the schools that have the med tech programs are going to be the one to offer those types of things. Recently, someone had mentioned to me that they liked the idea of working with local businesses to have the students create a campaign of sorts that would connect the business with the program at the school and offer information on health education to employees. So it would be kind of a trade-off there. We could offer those things, and then maybe they would be willing to have somebody come in and observe, or depending on the type of organization or business it is. So there's always that option. That was brought up to me not that long ago, actually, just a couple weeks ago.
Um, I get, how am I going to say this? At my age and Brad's age, we are a heck of a lot different than the average high school student. Okay. And getting to those students in your organization, I would think is quite different. Okay.
Yes. Yes, it is.
You know, and the one thing that comes to my mind is the amount of people that are buying expensive coffee, and you know who I'm talking about. You know, and we'll wait in line for for
I
minutes,
think you're
hours.
talking about me.
Well, no, I'm not. I don't know what your habits are. Okay, but everything is just so different now for the high school student compared to what we went through.
It really is. Even, I mean, I'm 32. I graduated from Perry in 09, and even the things that have changed in that small time frame, I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And it really is. Like I said earlier in the program, sorry, the shift to youth-led programs it's been huge. So we've been working on framework from SAMHSA, but we also speak with Youth to Youth International in Columbus. They are a youth-led program, but they're more in the prevention framework. When I think prevention, I'm not just thinking like alcohol, drugs, and stuff. I'm also thinking prevention of chronic diseases. So I kind of use that framework, and we adapted SAMHSA's a little bit to follow that. So we also work with the Ohio Adult Allies, and we use some of their framework as well in order to move the program forward. So the youth-led programs have really sprung up in the past 10 years and allow students to have more of that voice that they were not getting so much. I remember, like, I mean, if somebody went to the principal and said we wanted to do something, it might not have worked. But now principals and staff are more willing to say, oh, okay, let's see how we can do this.
I remember years ago being asked to substitute to talk to high school students at church in their class, Sunday school class. I couldn't even get close to these people, these young people. Okay, trying to in a short period of time, and having never taught a Sunday school class before, I can remember thinking, now what in the heck is going on here? So, you know, I can't even imagine the large groups that you do have in some of the schools.
Oh, yeah.
One kid here thinking about something else, and another kid over here thinking about something else, and this guy in the middle, I don't know what's going on here. So yeah.
We still have those moments. There are definitely those moments. I've been in some meetings where the advisor's like, so what do you guys think? And it's just crickets. And I'm like, okay, how can we rephrase this? Because it's not so much that they're not thinking. It's just, do we really want to say what we think we want to in front of a teacher? Like, is that what we want to do? So it's the confidence. So not only like the youth led, but bringing out that confidence level, and then like, yes, you are doing something important. We want you to continue to do it. We're not going to say no to things. And if we say no, these are the reasons.
Interesting.
So maybe that's a good lead into, you know, what can the community do to get involved with these programs?
So there's so many things, because I am just one person. I work on this program by myself, and then I've got my advisors, so they all come back to me and bounce ideas off. So one of the things that I would love to have more connections with for our students is connections to volunteering throughout the year. So I know some organizations, I know how to get involved with those, but if your organization needs volunteers for something, please reach out. We definitely want to help out when we can. I would love to provide at least one volunteer opportunity in any county for students. We have most of them in Stark County right now during the summer, but we would love to expand to Wayne County and Mahoning to get those students more involved, because it is kind of a hike when you come to downtown Canton from Wayne County. So For me, it takes like 40 minutes from the hospital, and I was like, and I don't like driving. So that would be great. But the one thing that we are really looking for are some community members to volunteer for the Scholarship and Grants Committee. This year, because our dollar amount has gone up on the advisors on the scholarships, I want to make sure that students are having a fair chance at getting those. So it's not just going to be me looking over them. And I would love to have community members who are interested in reading through grant applications through the year, reading through scholarship essays, and giving a fair assessment on those to join us and take a commitment for a year to be able to meet for about 20 hours throughout the year. So it's not a lot. And that's a high number, by the way. That's not, I don't think it's going to take 20 hours just to go through all of that to make that as fair as possible and get the students who are really committed getting those scholarships. And then, as most organizations, we are always looking for monetary donations. And like I said prior, if an ambassador program comes to your business and says, hey, we're looking for this and we were wondering if you could donate it, take time to talk with them, see what they're doing, make sure that, you know, what they think is aligning with your business, it actually aligns with you. So yeah.
So now, do you visit these programs at the school?
I do. Yeah, I do. It depends on what they're doing. I go to Dalton every 2 weeks. Usually December's a little off because of the holiday, but I go there. I try and attend at least one meeting every year. I try to attend more than that, but if I can get to all of them at least once, that's fantastic. If they have programming that they're doing, some of our schools make smoothies during lunch for students as an extra surprise. So I'll go and I'll take pictures and check them out and talk with the students. So yeah, I like to go out and visit them. It's one of my favorite things, being in front of the students.
So would you share with us a program that one of these schools is doing that you think is exceptional?
Oh my gosh. Well, I know I mentioned West Branch earlier. The advisor there works her butt off and she helps students so much. She makes sure that they know what they're doing. She always takes pictures of everything. They always have something going on. So West Branch is definitely one of them. All of our Wayne County schools are exceptional. They constantly go above and beyond. Canton South High School is another one that really works hard to provide students opportunities. They also have a health and wellness fair during the fall, right after school starts, to bring community organizations together for the community and the school. So each school does their own thing, and those are the ones that really stick out to me.
Interesting. So, Brad, where are we at?
Well, we're getting close on time. I think it'd be important, given everything you've shared, if you share the best ways again for people to get in touch with you and/or probably your program, but probably the best way to get in touch with you so you can direct traffic of where people need to get hooked up.
Sure. So my email is amanda.beaver@aultman.com. My office phone, there we go, is 330-489-9066. People are welcome to leave me messages. I'm in and out of the office a lot, so you might just have to wait for a call back. But also follow us on Instagram at Aultman Ambassadors, and you'll find out what the ambassadors are accomplishing throughout the year.
Excellent. Are there any organizations or companies or entities you collaborate with you want to recognize before we wrap up?
So recently, we just started working with AultCare and the Child and Adolescent Behavioral Health for preparations with Stark County Schools Mental Health Week. So this is the first time they've asked us to be involved. We have a group of students who are going to be helping with some of the promotional items. So I'm looking forward to that. It's fairly new, like within the past month. So we're really excited.
Good.
Very interesting. I'd say we are out of time, right, Brad?
Yeah.
Again, Amanda, thanks very much. Amanda Beaver with Aultman Ambassador Program. If you suspect you have a medical issue, please contact your healthcare provider. Thanks to Aultman Health Systems and our listeners for joining us at Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Have a healthy week, and we'll see you again next Friday right here on News Talk 1480 WHBC. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you.
Very enjoyable. Okay. You work hard, obviously. Maybe Aultman should provide you with a helicopter.
Oh, that'd be great.
Okay. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.